Hi, my name is Pontus Berg. It's over 50 years since I tested golf for the first time, and I've been playing rather regularly for the last 30 years. And during most of this time, I have been slicing. Like most amateur golfers, I am a slicer. So I am rather curious on why you slice the ball, and I will help you with a bit of the physics here, and hopefully you can bring that forward into why you are slicing. So over to that. So why do we slice? Well, let's first start with this. Let's say you are a slicer, like 90+% of all amateur golfers, and you watched so many hours of YouTube videos, and they are focusing dedicatedly on how to fix this issue we are having. Rather few actually go through why it happens, but rather how you should fix it. And if you are like me, I would like to understand why it happens so I can understand if the fix would actually address the issue I'm having. So the reason for recording this video is looking at why does it happen? Okay. So when you hit the ball, you are adding speed and you're also adding spin. If you're hitting a wedge shot, that spin is something you really want. But if you're hitting a driver, any sort of spiral towards the sides is probably unwanted, especially if you're an amateur golfer. Pros can of course add spin both to the left and to the right at will, but most amateurs we cannot. So we would like to eliminate most of the spin. So the unwanted spin here is your enemy. We don't want that. And if you look at the path in the air the ball takes, the first part of the flight is determined predominantly by the speed, the direction the ball is hit at. And the second portion of the flight path is determined more on the spin of the ball. So that's why slices normally don't come like directly off the club, but rather when it's a bit into the air, after much of the power, forward-leaning power of the ball is sort of gone by the ball hitting the air so much. So where can we control the ball? It's during the time when we can control the ball that we can make adjustments so that that little portion of what you can actually do will actually affect the ball. Before impact, you are setting up to adding the speed and the distance and the angle and the spin and everything to the ball. That's what you do before impact. And then we have the little fraction of time where impact happens. And then what happens afterwards is absolutely irrelevant. I've taken a picture of Scottie Scheffler, and his sort of tiptoeing after hitting the ball is something we tend to see on competitions. It doesn't matter. Scottie could do chang after hitting the ball. It doesn't matter. He hit the ball, and basically what happens afterwards is sort of a reflection of the swing towards hitting the ball. So do chang. It's absolutely fine. If I try to describe this, I would do it in the shape of a T. So the path of the club head when you're hitting the ball, that is sort of the vertical part of the T. And then you have the club head. That is the horizontal part of the T. And here the T is sort of showing when you're hitting towards up on the screen. And here it doesn't matter if you're a lefty or a righty. It would be the same because this is a flat T. So if you're standing on the left or the right, doesn't matter. But please mind the key part here. the angle here between the vertical and horizontal part of the tee is what is key. It's relative to the path of the club head. Normally, when you talk to amateurs, they think that if you have the club face square in the distance that you are going to hit, that would be a good thing. But that could be totally wrong, because if you're coming inside out or outside in, that if you're having the club face square, that actually means that you are having the club face open or closed in relation to the path of the club head. This is the pivotal thing to understand. The club face relative to the path of the club head, not relative to sort of a square towards the target. Yeah. Right. So if you look at the table tennis player, and this is an example from the Olympics, they are hitting the bat or racket, I don't know, well, whatever the tool they're using to hit the ball, from a low position to a high position. And as you see on the picture here, that player has the racket very high up, probably coming from very low to very high. And if the path of the racket would determine anything, they would hit the ceiling, but they do not, because the racket is also leaning forward when they're hitting the ball. So the ball goes up over the net, and then, because it's a very light ball, if you compare it to a golf ball, it's really, really light. So the power you put to the ball is much less, and the hitting the air with it means that the speed of the ball is reducing a lot faster than a golf ball, and then the spin comes into play. So given that they're leaning their rackets forward, they're adding a top spin, that means that just over the net it starts curving downwards, hitting the table on the other side. And this is basically what us slicers are doing. We are hitting the club from the outside to the inside, and relative to the path of the club head, we're having an open club head. So we're adding spin to the ball, so it spins away from us. From me to the right, because I'm hitting from the right, but if you're hitting from the left, of course it then spins left. And to complex things even further, of course, if everything was straight, it would be probably easier, but the golf stroke is a circular movement, and that means that the swing isn't a straight line, it's an arc. So when you're hitting the ball, you are basically coming from the inside out if you're having like a normal arc. So us slicers, we have been able to overcome this and still hit it from the outside in, even if the natural movement here is from the inside and out. So how do we fix this? So basically, the issue we are having is that we are coming from the outside in. So meaning the club head starts outside of the ball, moving towards the ball, and then ending up on the left from me as a writer, with the club face hence a bit open. So depending on sort of the magnitude of your problem, you're having the club face more and more open, or you're hitting the club more and more from the outside in. I would urge you to not look at too many YouTube videos. Take a picture or take a video of yourself, because there are so many sort of moving parts in a swing that if you are looking at YouTube videos to find a source of your issue, you might start fixing things that you are already doing very good and sort of breaking that without addressing the actual issue you are having. So film your own swing and see if you can find issues with that, rather than seeing how somebody else managed to fix their, because their issue could be totally different from yours. And the other thing is, take lessons. Clubs have pros. I know it's expensive, but playing golf is sort of expensive, and playing shitty golf is expensive and boring. So taking lessons from your club pro, or several lessons from your club pro, fixing your issue might mean that golf is still expensive, but it could be fun because you are playing good. Enjoy life on the golf course. It's so pushing your humility, and it's a good fun when you're actually hitting a good shot, especially if you've overcome your slice. Bye bye.